Hello friends, this is Rajesh and you are watching Input Output Campus. So today we are going to start a new series of ReactJS and we will cover all the things in ReactJS. And we'll learn how ReactJS actually works, and we'll learn the ReactJS step by step with some very basic examples. And we'll cover the basic concepts of ReactJS, how the state works in ReactJS, and the various hooks like useState, useEffect, useContext. So we'll discuss different types of hooks in this series. And then we'll create some very interesting apps using ReactJS, like we'll create a complete to-do app, a movies website, and many more.
So रुको जरा, सबर करो, बोला धक्का बुक्की नहीं करने.
And finally we'll learn the Redux. So most of the time Redux seems to be complex, but we'll learn the Redux step by step in some very easy way and with some very basic example. Okay, so before starting the video, make sure you have subscribed to Input Output Campus YouTube channel and also press the bell icon, because when I will upload a new video you will get the notification fast. Okay friends, so without wasting any time, let's start the video. Hello friends, welcome to Input Output Campus. So in this video we'll see the complete setup of ReactJS. There are mainly two things you have to do. First is you have to download an IDE. Okay, so we'll download the VS Code editor. So please check the description to download and set up your VS Code editor in your PC. Okay, so after completing the first step, next we'll go to the next step. The next step is to download and install the Node.js. Okay, to download the Node.js, just come to this website and the link of this URL will be in the description below. Okay, so check the description. So this is the current version of Node.js and this is the stable version of Node.js. So if you want to download the source code, just click here and it will be downloaded. Okay, so I don't want to download the source code. So if you are a Mac user, just click here and you can see it will download it. But if you are a Windows user, then you have to check if your Windows is 32-bit or 64-bit. So first of all, check these features in your computer, then download it. Okay, you can download the MSI version, zip, or other versions are here. So I'll tell you which is the most easy way to download and install without any headache. Okay, so first of all, let's see the features of a computer, that is it is 32-bit or 64-bit. Okay, just come to your search bar here and type here about. So you can see here about your PC, system settings. So just click on it. Now after opening this, you will get this type of interface. And you can see here, this is about. Below this device specification, you can see system type. Okay, and you can see here 64-bit operating system. Okay, so your system is 64-bit. Okay, now you are confirmed that you have to download this 64-bit. So we will download this MSI version because this is very easy to install. Okay, just click on this 64-bit and you can see here it will automatically download it, and it is about 30 MB. So after downloaded, you can open it or show in folder. So we will go to the folder and then open it, and you can see here this is downloaded. So let's install it. Just double click here. Okay, you can see welcome to Node.js setup wizard. So just click on this next and then click accept here and then click on next. And here is your destination folder, program files, Node.js. Okay, so just keep it default and just click on next. Then don't do anything here, just click on this next. Or you can see here a checkbox that is automatically install the necessary tools. No, we don't want to install any other tools, so just leave it blank and then click on next. And then finally click on this install. Okay, it's done, and now click on this finish button. So to check if it's installed or not, so just come to here and type here cmd and you can see this command prompt, just open here and type here node minus minus version, version, okay, and then press enter and you will get the install node version, that is version 18.14.0. okay, so when you install this node, then a package that is npm node package manager is automatically installed with this node. So you can check that npm version by just typing here npm minus minus version and press enter. So our npm version is 8.12.1. okay, so our node is successfully installed. So in the next video we'll see how to create a React app from the scratch. Okay, so in the previous video we have seen the complete setup of ReactJS, how to install and set up the node in your computer, and you also have to install the VS Code. So if you have not watched that video yet, please watch that video. So after completing your setup, we'll create our first React app. So first of all, just go to your desktop and then create a folder like this, a React full course or like any name, okay, and then just click here and then just double click here and then select all and then type here cmd and it will redirect you to the cmd, and then type here code space dot and then press enter, and this will redirect you directly to the VS Code editor. Okay, now you can see we are in the VS Code editor. This is our folder, that is your React full course. Okay, so now simply click on this terminal and then click on this new terminal. So now we'll create our first React app. And what is the command to create the first React app? So just simply type here npx create hyphen react react and then hyphen and f. okay, so npx and then space and then create hyphen react hyphen f and then give a space here and then give your app name or project name here. So this is the app name, so you can give here any name. So just press enter and you can see creating a new React app in this path. So it will take some time to create your React, and finally you can see it's successfully created. So we have successfully created our first app. So before going to the folder structure or inside this first app, we'll see what are the recommended commands. So you can see here, to start the app you can start by just writing here npm start. okay, so before starting the project, make sure you have on that particular project or app which you have created. So we have created our first app, but we are in this folder React full course. So for that you can see the recommendation here cd first app. So first of all you have to write here cd first app, then you can start the app. So just type here cd first app, then press enter, and now we are in first app in our project. okay, then just type here this command npm start, npm space start, and then press enter, and you can see the project is automatically started in this localhost 3000. okay, so this is the default design of the React app, so you can modify it. okay, so let's go to our project, that is first app. Just click on this first app and you can see the different types of file and folder. okay, let's zoom it. Yeah, now it's okay. So inside this first app there is a node modules. So what the node modules? So node module is just a folder. So in this folder all your project packages are included in these node modules. So this is a huge folder. If you open this, all the dependencies are included in these node modules. So you don't have to do anything with these node modules, just keep it as it is. So next you can see public folder and source folder. So what is in the public folder? You can see a favicon, then index.html, then some logo, and then manifest and robots.txt. So we'll discuss all these in details in a dedicated video, so which you can see in the next video. So as of now just select these files one by one and just delete this, because we want to see the whole format in a simple way with some very basic structure. Okay, so you can see here there is only index.html in this public. So let's see what is inside this source folder. Okay, so in the source folder we'll delete all the unnecessary files right now, and the next video will discuss about the folder structure of this project. So as of now we'll keep this project very simple and the project structure will be very simple. Okay, so in the source folder you can see different types of files here. So you can see here we have called the component from here. So if you click on this app, so this will come to here, and you can see here is the text learn React, and if you go to this and you can see here is the learn React text. Okay, so we'll keep this app.js and index.js. Okay, so all the other files is not necessary as of now, so just select that files one by one and delete this. Okay, so all the files are deleted. So now we'll go to index.html, and here you can see this is the head tag, and in the head tag there are some comments also, so just remove this comment from here. Now in the body tag you can see there is also some comment, so just remove this comment. Now you can see in the body tag there is only two lines of code, so one is no script and the another is a div with the id root. Okay, so just save it. Okay, now move to the source folder, and inside this just remove these unnecessary comments from here, and remove this line, and remove this index.css and this report web vitals also. So you can remove this react.strict mode from here, so just remove this. Now you can see this is very simple, just we are rendering our app component. So you can see here document.getElement via id root, so this root is in our public folder and inside this index.html, so we are showing the result inside this div. So from here we'll go to the app component, and in the app component you can see these are the unnecessary lines. Just remove these lines, and inside the return just remove this from header, and there's simple div. Okay, and inside this div we'll write some text like input output campus, and save this, and you can see all the errors is gone. And if you go to the browser you can see the text here like input output campus. Okay, so just give your header tag like h1 and give your text inside this and save this, and go to the browser and you can see the output here. Okay, so next is this git ignore. So git ignore is to use to ignore the files while we'll upload this project in the GitHub. You can see all these files will be ignored, that is all this file will not be uploaded in the GitHub for security purpose. Okay, so for this reason git ignore is here. So next you can see is a package.json. so package.json is the most vital and important file, because in this package.json all the necessary dependencies are installed. So if you install some dependencies or package, you can see that will be reflected here. Now you can see here package log.json. So package log.json stores all the information about these dependencies. So suppose here is the dependency React or React DOM. So package log.json stores all the information about these each dependencies in this package log.json file. Okay, so hope you understand how to create your first React app and run it with very easily. So today in this video we'll see the complete folder structure of ReactJS. So when we create a React app, by default we can see this node modules folder, public folder and source folder, and inside this there are several files and folders included, and you can see the other files here. So we'll discuss all the files and folders. So what is node modules folder? During creation of this project, PM create this node module folder by default, and this node modules contains the details about packages. You can see here Babel and in this Babel you can see the several folders. So this is installed locally into your system when you create your React project. Then you can see a public folder and source folder. So in the source folder, all the files and folders related to ReactJS are included inside this source folder, and inside this public folder all the non-React related files and folders are included inside this public folder, and we'll discuss one by one. So in the last you can see a readme file. So what is a readme? So this readme.md file automatically generated when you create your React app, and this readme file contains the basic information about your project, or you can give some information manually. So you can edit this and give some information here about the user, about the project, and you can directly upload this file to Git repository. Now what is package.json? So package.json is used to defining your project properties, description, author, license, information, scripts. You can see your project name and project version and some dependencies, script. Oh, what is package log.json? So the package log.json contains the metadata. So what is metadata? So it contains the information about these dependencies. So you can see here React DOM, and its version is 18.2. So this is the only information provided in the package.json. So now if you go to this package log.json, then you can see, so you can see the more information about this React DOM. You can see the version, result, integrity, dependencies. So you can see React DOM is also have some dependencies like loose, envify, scheduler, and you can see some peer dependencies. Okay, so there are extra information about some dependencies are stored in this package log.json. Okay, now you can see .gitignore. So .gitignore, so what does it mean? So it will ignore some files so when you will commit your code into the GitHub or Git. So you can see if you write some folders or files here, so it will ignore while you will commit your code. So these files will not upload it to the remote repository. Like you can see here node modules. So you can see here this node modules folder will not be uploaded to the remote repository while we'll commit, as it is written in this gitignore. So inside this .gitignore, all these files and folders will be ignored while we'll upload this project to remote repository, and these files and folders will not be uploaded. This will be ignored. Okay, so hope you understand it. Now we'll go inside this source folder, and first you can see here app.css. So here we'll write the styles of app component. So now you can see here app.js. So what is app.js? So app.js, this is the main component of your React app. So this is the parent component or main component of your React app. Okay, so under this component we will write all the component. So this component represents your whole application. So if you go to the browser, you can see this is the interface. Now if we change this parent component, that is app.js, and you can see here we'll remove this header from here, and we'll also remove this class, and inside this div we'll write a head tag and we'll give some text here and save it. And if you go to the browser, you can see this is showing input output campus. As this is the parent component, what we'll write here, it will directly show us to the web page, and inside this app component will write our child component here. Okay, now you can see here app.test.js. So inside this app.test.js we can write our unit test cases. So now you can see here index.css. So in this index.css, usually we define the global styles like the body styles of the web pages. Okay, now you can see here index.js. So in this index.js, we mount or render our main component. So what is our main component? Our main component is app.js, and we'll mount or render this app component inside this index.js. So how it is rendered? So you can see here we have write const root equals to react dom dot create root, and inside this we have write document dot get element by id root. So we'll find this root id by using this document dot get element by id, and inside this root will render it by using root.render, and inside this we'll write our main component or parent component. So now we can ask where is our root id. So root id is defined inside this public, and we'll see it after some time. Okay, now you can see here logo.svg. So this is nothing but a svg like png photo. This is svg photo. Okay, next there is a report web vitals.js. Okay, this report web vitals.js is a library, is a tiny library for measuring the web vitals metrics on real users. That means this report web vitals is used for Chrome user experience report, page speed insight, search console speed report. And now you can see setup test.js. So we have app.test.js. So here we write the unit test cases for testing our apps, and in this setup test.js all the unit test cases setup files are started from here. Okay, now we'll see the public folder. So inside the public folder you can see the favicon.ico. So this is nothing but a favicon icon. Like you can see here there's a icon before this React app, and this is called favicon icon, and this is the icon favicon.ico. Next you can see here index.html. So this is a HTML file, and this index.html file you can see here in the body there is nothing but a div with id root, and with this root the app component or main component of React is rendered inside this div. Okay, so if you remove these comments from here and remove this, you can see here this is nothing but a simple HTML file with a body with no script and a simple div with id root. So when our app component renders, it come to here by finding this element id equals to root, and inside this div our whole app rendered. Then you can see to png file, and here you can see manifest.json. So what is manifest.json? So it is called meta files. It stores small icons, displays, theme color, background color. Now the final file is robotics.txt. So robotics.txt file is necessary so when our app is live on the internet. So in this robotics.txt we write what files a web crawler should crawl and index it on the internet. We'll write that here which files should be crawled by the web scroller. Okay, so we have discussed all the files and folder structure of React.js. So now we can simply delete one by one files and folders which are not necessary for our project. Like we can delete this favicon icon and this logo manifest.json robotics.txt. So let's delete this, and in the public folder there will be only one file, that is index.html, and in the source folder now we don't need any style, so just delete this app.css, just delete this app.test.js, index.css, and then remove this logo, report web vitals, setup test, and git ignore. Okay, not git ignore, logo, report web vitals, and setup web test. Just delete this. Okay, now this is clean, and you can remove all these contents from readme.md, and you can give any message here, like I will give here input output campus. Okay, now you can see here 3 errors. So if we go to the browser, you can see here several errors are showing here. So how we can resolve this? So we can resolve this very easily. So first go to this app.js, and you can see here we have delete this logo and app.cs. So just remove this from here and save it, and you can see there is only 2 errors left. So just go to this index.js and remove the deleted files like index.css, just remove it, report web vitals, just remove it, and remove this from here, and now save it, and you can see all the errors has gone and the webpack has compiled successfully. And if we go to the browser, we can see the output without any errors. Okay, so now you can see how clean and clear our project is. So don't delete these node module files, because all the dependencies informations are stored here. So this node module stored the metadata of your dependencies, and don't delete this package.json file. You can delete this package log.json as of now, but this is also necessary. You can delete this and save it, and you can see there is no error showing. Okay, you can also delete this readme file and .gitignore file as of now, but this is all necessary while you upload your project to remote repository. Okay, so I have tried to explain you all the things in a very simple way. If you find this video helpful and enjoyed the video, so the full form of JSX is JavaScript XML. So JSX allows us to write and add the HTML code in ReactJS. Okay, so we'll see how to use JSX in your React app, and we'll see in some very easy way and with some very basic example. Okay, the same folder structure is here which we are working in the previous video. So in the source folder, we'll go to the index.js, and then we'll go to the app.js. So as I told before, JSX allows us to write and add HTML in React. So you can see this is a React, and in this React we have already added the HTML code here. So in the previous video we have seen this example. Okay, let's edit this. Okay, let's keep it side by side. So here we have used this div. So if we remove this div from here, and you can see this HTML tag is still working fine. Let's save it. So how it is possible to write the HTML code inside the React? So this is only possible because there is a compiler inside this React. So as you can see in this index.html, we have import this React from this React. So we have installed this React and this React DOM. So we can write all the code in one file. Like we can remove this f component from here, and okay, just remove this from here and write all your code here, and finally save it, and you can see the output is same. So just remove this app.js file from here, or remove this import f from here, and finally save it, and you can see it is compiled successfully. So here we can write this HTML tag or HTML syntax here only because there is a compiler inside this React. So what is the name of the compiler? And the name of the compiler is Babel. So this Babel convert the HTML to JavaScript. So if we write here HTML, it will automatically convert to JavaScript and show the desired output to us. So as there is a Babel compiler present inside this React, so for that reason we can write HTML inside JavaScript or JavaScript inside HTML. So this is one of the biggest advantage. So hope you understand what is JSX. Now we can see here inside this render there is one HTML element present. So this render method render only one element at a time. So if we write here multiple element, like if we write here h2 and then write here please subscribe now, then you can see it gives some error. You can see the Cython JSX expression must have one parent element. Okay, so to give a parent element, just give here a div, and inside this div we can write here multiple element. So inside this div we can use multiple elements. Okay, so now if we save this and you can see the output, input output campus, please subscribe now. Okay, so in this way we can use multiple elements inside the render method. So if we write here like a fee tag, and inside this like some text like please like the video, and give here another paragraph tag like share the video with your friends and subscribe now, and another text like press the bell icon. So just save it and you can see the output. Now you have learned how to use HTML in our React app using JSX. Okay, so now we'll see how to use JavaScript inside this HTML. So how we can write JavaScript inside this? So for that, suppose give here a name like const name is equals to this. Just cut it from here and write it here. And inside this h1, just give the constant name. So its name is name. And if you save this, you can see the output is printing as name. So it's printing the variable name. So how we can use this variable name inside this HTML? So to use this JavaScript inside this HTML, you have to write the variable name under this, between these curly braces. Just write these curly braces, and inside the curly braces write your variable name, and then if you save this, you can see the output is input output campus. Okay, so you can see how easy it is to use JavaScript inside HTML. So we can do the similar things for these variables also. So just for practice purpose, give here the constant name for each of this HTML element. Okay, so this is for subscribe. So let's write here const subs, and then just cut it from here and give here subs. Similarly, cut it from here and give here const like, and right here insert the JSX like, insert the, and just cut it from here and give your variable name const share, and right here the variable name share, and then cut this from here and right here subscribe, and give here our text name, and then right here subscribe. Finally cut it from here and give here const notification, and right here notification. Okay, and finally save it, and you can see the output is same. So in this way we can write the HTML inside JavaScript and JavaScript inside HTML. If we want to write some other text like ReactJS full course, and then we want to give here a date like a year. Okay, so we can write here a year like this, and then we can write here the year inside a variable. Suppose we want to get the year from date function. So how we can do that? we can just write a new and then get function, and then write here the function get full year, and then save it, and you can see ReactJS full course 2023. So if we change it to like this age 3 and save it, and you can see ReactJS full course 2023. And if we don't want to write this thing here and we want to write this thing outside of this render function, then we can do it easily, like just remove this from here, and here we can write new date, and we can store the date inside a variable like date variable, and then we can use this date and store it inside another variable like full year, and then write this date dot get full year, and just copy this full year variable from here and just paste it here and save it, and you can see the output is same. Okay, so hope you learned how to use JSX in React app. Still, if you have any queries or question regarding this, then please do comment below. So what is component? So component is a small pieces of code which we can use multiple times. Okay, so in the previous video we have saw how to use JSX in React, and you can see here is our code in this source folder index.js, and I have add this style.css file. So first of all, run the project by entering npm start, and your project will be run successfully. Here you can see this is a car, and if we want this car multiple times, suppose I want this same car again multiple times below this, then what we can do, we can write this same code again and again. We just remove these 2 lines of code from here and wrap this inside this div. Now if I save this, you can see here one car. Okay, now if I copy and paste this code again and again and save it, okay, just remove this h1, the same card is showing again and again by writing this same code. But we can avoid this writing the same code again, so we can use component here to avoid writing the same code again and again. Okay, so to do that, what we can do here, just write here a function and give here the name of the function. Suppose the name of the function is my card. Okay, and start with capital letter. So inside this return, so what will return here, will return these lines of code. Okay, just copy this and paste it here, and remove this same code from here. Okay, and remove this line also. Okay, just save it, and you can see nothing is showing here. Why? Because we have write our function that is my car, but we have not used it. So to use this, we can write here the component. So this is our car component, so we can use this car component here. So just write here your component that is my car. Okay, and then save it, and you can see your car is here. And if you want to show this car multiple times, then just copy this car and paste it here and save it, and you can see all the cars are showing here. So by using this component, we avoid to write the same code again and again. We have to write only one component, and inside this component we have to write the code only once, and we have used this car component when it is required. Okay, so we have to write this component inside this index.js. So if we want, we can use this outside of this file. So to write the component outside of this file, just go to the source folder and right click here and then new file, and then give the name of your component, and the component name is my car.js. Now copy this code from here. So we'll copy this car component and this subs, that is this variable. Okay, so just copy this and paste it here, and remove this notification date and full year because we don't need this. Okay, so now your card is ready. Now we have to export it. So how we can export it? Just right here, export default, and then the name of your card. What is the name of your card? And then write your card name, and your card name is my card. Okay, and then just save it. And here we'll remove this card. Just comment it and remove this, and here we'll import the card. So to import the card, just write here import, and you can see the size on my card. Okay, just write here my card from my card. Okay, so we have imported the card, and now we can remove this code from here. And now if we save this, you can see there is an error. So here you can see in the line number 9 there is an error, that is import in the body of the module reorder to top import. So we have to write this line of code first. Okay, so just cut it from here and write it here. Okay, and then save it, and you can see at the output, that is my car, it is showing one time. And if we copy this my car and paste it here and save it, and you can see our card is showing 2 times, as we have write here the card 2 times. Okay, now we'll see the file structure of component in a standard method. Okay, so you can see here in the index.js there are many things like my car component and some h1 tag with class name and variable. Okay, so we don't want these things here. So index.js will be very simple. There will be only one component, and the name of the component is app. Okay, so first of all, inside this source folder we'll create another folder. Right click here and then new folder, and then give a folder name component. So inside this component folder we'll write all our components here. Okay, so here you can see there is only one component, that is my card. Okay, so this component will be inside this component folder. Okay, just move this from here to this component folder, and now you can see my card.js, this component is moved to this component folder, and this gives some error because of missing path. Okay, now inside this source folder we'll create a new component, that is app.js. Just write here app.js. Okay, now we'll create a component like this my card. Okay, so just copy all these things from here and paste it inside this app.js, and here the name of the component is app. Just write here app. So this is the app component, and inside this app component we'll import all the other components from this component folder. So if there is some component in this component folder, we'll import that component into this app.js, and inside this index.js we'll import only this app.js. So this my car component will be import to this app.js, and this app.js will be import to this index.js. Okay, so here just cut this div from here and paste it inside this return. Now here we'll remove all the things and remove this div, and here will be only app component, and app is imported from app. So just save it and save this app.js, and you can see some error, that is this name is missing. Okay, and we have not import this card, so just import this card first. Just write here import my card from component my card. Okay, and right here name is input output campus and save it, and you can see it's compiled successfully and it's showing the output, but all the designs have gone, so we have not import the style.css. okay, here we have not used the style, so this style.css, so to use this style.css just import this style.css here. okay, just right here before this const import dot slash style dot css and save it, and you can see all the styles are here. okay, so far what we have done here, we have write index.js, and in this index.js we have write only one component, that is app. okay, and just go to this app, and in this app component we have import another component, that is my card. so we have import this component and other additional codes here, like this heading 1 we have write this inside this app component. okay, and in this source folder there is another folder, that is component, and inside this component folder we have write our car component. okay, and inside this car component there is nothing but a simple card. okay, so in this way we can use components in reactjs. so hope you understand how to use component in reactjs in a very simple way. so still, if you have any doubts or questions or queries, then please comment down below, and please like the video, and in the next video we'll discuss about props in reactjs in a very simple way with some very basic example. okay, so we'll continue this video with the previous folder structures and code. so before starting the video, make sure you have subscribed to input output campus YouTube channel, and also press the bell icon, because when I'll upload a new video you'll get the notification first. okay, so let's start the video. so in the previous video we have made these components. so now in this video we'll discuss about props and destructuring in a very simple way. okay, so first of all let's understand what is props. so props is nothing but the properties. so we'll pass the props from parent component to child component. so generally props is used to pass the data from your parent component. so this app.js is the parent component and its child component is my card. so if we want to pass data from this app.js to this child component my card, then we can use props. so now it is clear what is props. so the next part is how to use props in your component. so to use props, it's very easy. so first of all, go to your parent component. so here the parent component is app.js, and in this app.js there are some child component, and the child component is my card. and if we try to add here some attributes, like I want to change this title from here and this description from here, then we can do that easily from here. just write here card title, and suppose the card title ReactJS tutorial 2023. okay, and here card description. so card description is suppose by input output campus. okay, so we have write this card title and card description attributes inside this my card component. so to use this we have to go to this my card component. so just go to this my card component, and inside this my card function write here props, props, props. okay, then here in the title you have to write your props. so just write here props. props means properties. properties of what? properties of, so which properties do you want to use here? And to use here these card title properties. okay, just write here props dot card title and save it, and you can see the title has been changed, ReactJS tutorial 2023. so now we'll change this description by this card description. okay, so just copy this card description and write here the same thing, like props dot card description, and then save it, And you can see here ReactJS tutorial by input output campus. Okay, so just add this love symbol here and here give a hand symbol. Okay, just save it and you can see ReactJS tutorial by input output campus. Okay, so these are first component, and in the first component we have passed this card title and card description props, and we have used these props here. So for the second component, you can see here there's nothing, so nothing is showing here. So you just have to write these attributes again, and you can change this title and description. So let's change this title from here like subscribe, and give here a description like target subscriber 10k. Okay, and save it, and you can see here the second component with the card title subscribe and the card description target subscribe 10k. Okay, so in the my card we have just passed the props one time, but here we can write the my card component multiple times with different types of title, description, or anything whatever you want to write. Okay, so here in my card you can see here we have write props two times, so we can remove these props from here and we can simply write this card title and card description. So how can we do that? So for that we have to know about destructuring. So what is destructuring? So destructuring is nothing but you want to destructure something. So inside the props there are two things like card title and card description. Okay, so let's console it here like props and save it and go to the console, and you can see here in the props card description and card title. So instead of using this props.card title, so here we are accessing props.card description in our code. You can see here in the title we have right here props.card title and props.card description. So props.card description gives this target subscriber, and same thing is here props.card title gives us this text subscribe. Now we can destructure this. So how to destructure this? We can easily destructure this. So card title and card description, these two things are inside these props. You can see here. So these two things are inside these props. So to destructure this we have to write these props. So just write here props, just give here a curly braces, and inside this write these two variable card description and card title. So card description and card title. Okay, so in this way we can destructure the values from the props. Okay, so just before these curly braces write here const, and the error has gone. Okay, so now we can use this card description and card title instead of this props dot card title and card description. Okay, so just remove this props dot, and from here also remove this props dot card description, and just simply write here card title and card description. Okay, just save it and you can see the same output without any error. Okay, so now you can ask me why I have write these curly braces here to destructure the props values. So the reason is you can see here in the console the props values are inside these curly braces. That is, these props values are stored as an object. You can see the key value pair. So that's why you have to write these curly braces to destructure the props value. Suppose if there is a situation that the values are stored inside an array and you want to destructure the values from the array, then how you can do that? So suppose you have an array like this, and inside these arrays there is likes and comments, and if you want to destructure this, then you can simply write here const and then likes comma comments, and then write here IO campus. That is, you want to destructure this IO campus. Okay, or you can directly access this like const likes is equals to IO campus 0. So the first value, let's comment it down. Yeah, so the first value of the array is likes. So in this way we can use likes and comments also. So now you can see how easy it is to use props and destructuring in React.js. Still, if you have any questions or queries or confusions, then please comment down below. We will discuss about mapping data to a component in React.js in a very simple way. So without wasting any time, let's start the video. So in the previous video we have saw props and destructuring in React.js. So props and destructuring are very useful and very important concept in React.js. So if you have not watched these props and destructuring, then please watch this video. After that, watch this mapping data to a component video. Okay, so we'll use this same code and this same folder structure and the same project. Okay, here all the things are same. So here first of all we need some data. To map the data we need some data. So let's close all the files from here and simply go to this source folder and then right click and then new file and then give a new file that is data.json. So in this data.json file we'll store the data and we'll map the data in our component. Okay, so let's give some data here inside this array and then inside this object give title Sunday, description, give a description like this is Sunday. Okay, so let's copy this and paste it again and give your Monday, give your Tuesday, paste it here, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday. Okay, so our data is ready inside this data.json file. Okay, now we'll access this data. So just go to this app.js and here inside this app.js component we can see there's another component that is my card and we are passing this card title and card description from here and we are using these props to access this data. So in the app.js we have used the myCar component and inside this myCar component we have write this card title and card description and this card title and card description all these are static. Okay, so we'll make this dynamic and to make this dynamic we have to map the data from this data.json. Okay, so for that we have to import this data here. Okay, let's import it. So just write here import and give here any name like data, import data from data.json. Okay, so now data is imported to app.js and to see if the data is imported or not, let's console it here and give here data and give here the variable data and then save it. So now if we go to the console, you can see here all the data are showing in the console in the form of array of object. Okay, so we'll iterate all this array of object in this app.js file. Okay, so how to show the dynamic data? So to show the dynamic data, let's delete this and remove this card title and also this card description from here. So inside this card title we want to give here dynamic data. So just write here data of 0 dot title and in the card description just write here data of 0 dot description. Okay, so we are accessing the first element of the data. So just save this and you can see the output Sunday. This is Sunday. Okay, if we want to access all the data, then we can simply copy it and paste it here and then we'll change this index from 0 to 1 and this is also from 0 to 1, and we'll do the same thing again. For index 2 we'll write here 2, and for index 3 we'll write here 3, and similarly write the other index like index 4, index 5 and index 6. You can see we have accessed all the data with the help of this index. Okay, so just save it and you can see the output from Sunday to Saturday. All the title and description are showing here, but this is not the right way to access the data. So we know how to use the for loop, so we can do this using for loop. Okay, so let's try it using for loop. Just simply remove this, and here write array, write a empty array like items. This is an empty array, and we will iterate this data using for loop. So we'll write a for loop for let I equals to 0, I less than data dot length I plus plus, and inside this for loop we'll push all the data inside these items. Okay, so to push the data inside these items we have to write items dot push, and then inside this we'll write our component, that is my car component. So just copy this from here and paste it here, and instead of this index 0 just replace this with variable I. Now inside this return we'll write these items inside these curly braces. So just write here items. Okay, so just remove these extra spaces from here and save it, and you can see the output as expected. But now we'll do these things using map. By using map method we can easily get this output. Okay, so let's see by using map method. Okay, so just remove this for loop and we'll use map method to this data. Okay, so inside this data just simply write here data dot map. So when we write data.map, so map method will extract one by one data and it will do the operation. So inside this arrow function there is a item, and inside this item one by one data will be in this item from this data. So you can see in the data there are 7 items. Okay, so first item will come to this item. So if you log this item you can see what is inside this item. So just save it. So you can see here inside the data there are 7 items. Okay, from 0 to 6 index, and in the item you can see separate elements are printing on items. Okay, so now we can easily access this title and description from this item. Now inside this my car here will be item dot title, because we are getting item and inside every item there is title and description. Okay, so just replace this data.0 item dot title and item dot description. Okay, just to remove this and remove this also, and when you save this there is no output because we have not returned this from here, so we have to return this. So just give here this first bracket and return this component from here. Okay, and save it. Still we have not get any output. So what's the problem? We have mapped the data from this data and it's a return my car component. After returning this we have not stored it anywhere, so we have to store this inside these items. Okay, so just write here items equals to data.map. Okay, and finally we are showing these items from here, and finally we'll write this item inside this return. Okay, so just simply save this and you will get the expected output. So you can see here we have write an empty array with name items, and we are store all the data inside these items, and finally we are writing these items inside this return. Okay, so now we can simply remove this all the things, and we can simply copy this data.map from here, and we can remove this item and paste this data.map here. So just remove all these things from here, and if you save this, you will get the same output as expected. But still there is some problem. If we go to the console, we can see there is a warning that is a child in our list should have a unique key prop. Okay, so how we can remove these warnings from here? So we have to give a unique key for each of this child component. So how we can give this unique key? So we can simply write here index, and we can write here key equals to index. So in the data.map, two things are coming, that is an item and another one is index. Okay, and this is a number, and we can give the key value as index here. And if you save this and go to the console, and if you remove all the things again and refresh this, and you can see there is no warning. Okay, we can also give our custom key here. For that you have to give here id, because id for this first is equals to 1. For the second element the id is 2. For the third element the id is 3. For the fourth the id is 4, and for this the id is 5, and for this the id is 6, and for this the id is 7. And save it, and here inside this app.js just remove this index from here, and in the key just write here item.id and save it and clear the console and refresh it, and you can see no warnings here. Okay, so in this way we can map the data to a component, and we can easily access the data using map method. So still if you have any doubts or confusion regarding this, then please comment below. And so what is a React fragment, and how we can use this React fragment, and what is the benefits of using a React fragment? Okay, so first of all, I have created a file here, that is my app, and inside this app.js component you can see here we have write some text inside this. h2 element is wrapped inside this div. So we can write here multiple elements like h3, like the video, and you can see here this is working fine, as we have wrapped this h2 and h3 with this div element. Okay, so now if we inspect element from the browser, you can see here inside this div element of id root there will be some child div which we have right here this div, and inside this div you can see h2 and h3, and you can see h2 and this is h3. Okay, so this div is necessary. So if we return multiple components, then as a wrapper we need some div. But what's the problem? The problem is this div takes some space and creates a node inside the DOM. So in React we have alternative to this. We can wrap this h2 and h3 without this div. So how we can do that? We can do that using Fragment. So just remove this div from here and just left it empty, and this is called Fragment. Just save it, and you can see here the wrapper div has gone. Still it wraps h2 and h3, and there is no error is showing. So now the extra node to the DOM is not created. You can see here there is no extra node for wrapping these h2 and h3 is not created. Still our work is done very smoothly. Okay, so there are multiple ways to wrap with fragment, we can write here fragment, and for that you have to import fragment from React. So how to import? Just import fragment from React. Okay, and then write this here and save it, and it's compiled successfully. And if you go to the browser, you can see still it's working fine and there is no extra node is created in the DOM. Okay, so if you want, you can remove this line from here, just comment it, and you can directly use this fragment from React. So for that, write here react.fragment and save it. Okay, there is one error. So what is the error? React is not defined. Just give your dot and then write this fragment and save it, and we are getting this error. So what's the problem? So the problem is we have used fragment from React, but we have not imported React from this React. So React is not recognized by our application. So we have to import React from React. So just import React from React. Okay, and save it, and you can see compiled successfully. And if you go to the browser and refresh this, you can see here all the errors is gone, and inside this div you can see here there is no extra div is created, and S2 and S3 are written successfully. So when we'll do our upcoming projects, we'll use this fragment or this empty fragment. Okay, so we will not use div here, we'll use fragment or this empty fragment here for our upcoming projects. Okay, so this is good practice, and hope you enjoyed this video and learn something new. So in the last video we have saw the React fragment in ReactJS. So that was very basic. Okay, so without wasting any time, let's start the video. So first of all, here we have this app component, and inside this component we have some text. So we'll remove this text, and here will be okay, and then inside this component folder we'll create a file, we'll create a component, and the name of the component is user list. Okay, user list.js, and write the basic syntax of React functional component by typing here RAFCE and press enter, and you can see the basic structure is ready for this user list component. Just save it, and now we want some data. So let's create some data here. So const users, and in this users array, so in this users array of object, so this is array of object, and here will be name, and name is suppose Rajesh1, and give here city is Delhi, and copy this and paste it here, and we'll change this name, suppose Rajesh2, and the city is suppose Mumbai. Similarly, we'll paste it again, and here Rajesh3, and city is suppose Kolkata. Again we'll paste it here and give it Hyderabad. Okay, and save it. So our data is ready. Now we'll map this data. So all the data are in these users. Okay, so we'll map these users. So users dot map, and inside this map function there will be a fed arrow function. Okay, and here will be user and an index. okay, and we'll show every user inside h2 tag, and here will be user dot name, and inside paragraph tag there will be user dot, and this is showing error because we have to wrap these two. Okay, to wrap this, just give a div here and save it. Okay, so now our user list is ready, so just import this user list here in this app component. So to import this, just write here user list and this will be import. Okay, just save it and go to the browser, and you can see here nothing is showing here. So what's the problem? Okay, we have to return here. Okay, we have not write a return. Okay, to return it, just write here return and then give a bracket here, close the bracket here. Okay, and save it, and you can see this compiled successfully. Okay, if you go to the browser, you can see here the output with the name and city. So Rajesh 1 2 3 4 and Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Hyderabad. Okay, but still there is some problem. So what's the problem? If you go to the console, you can see here there is some warning that each child in a list should have a unique key prop. So you have to give some unique key prop, and we can use index here, but this is not recommended. So we can give the key as index here, and you can see after refreshing, you can see the warning has gone, but this is not recommended because while you will do some card operation, you will do edit, add, delete, these types of operations with your user list, then you will face some difficulties while you will use this index. So we'll use some unique ID, so that unique ID will be always unique for user. Okay, so for that, what you can do, so first of all, let's remove it and go to the browser, and here search UUID. We'll use this UUID. This UUID will provide us a unique key for every user, like this types of key. Okay, you can see here like this. So first of all, we have to install it. So we can install it in Windows by copy this command npm iuuid. Okay, so let's copy it from here and go to the code and click here and then PowerShell, and then paste the command here npm iuuid and press enter. You can see here this is installed successfully. Now you can delete this PowerShell from here, and now if you want to check if this is installed or not, go to this package.json, and here inside these dependencies you can see the package uuid has successfully installed with its version 9.0.0. okay, so now how we'll use this in our project? So it's very simple to use uuid. You can see here we have installed it by using npm install uuid, and then we can use it by importing v4 as uuid v4 from uuid. Okay, just copy it from here and then come to your project and import it here. Now this is imported. Now you can use this anywhere in your project, so we'll use it as our unique id or unique key. So for that, write here this key and we'll give this here. Okay, and if you save it and if you go to the browser and refresh it, you can see there is no warning, and for every user a unique id is created. So how you will check what types of id it is created? So just console it. So to console it, just console log this give here UUID and save it. And if you go to the browser, and you can see every time a new key is created. Okay, so just remove this, and we can remove this from here, and we can give here ID for each user, like ID is equals to this, and copy this from here, paste it here, paste it here, and paste it here. Now we can use the key as user.id, and we can also print it, like if we want we can print it here like user.id. okay, if you save it and go to the browser and refresh it, you can see for each user there is name and city and a unique ID is generated. So this ID is always unique for every items. Okay, so there is no chance of duplication of this ID. Okay friends, so in this way we can create unique IDs while we'll mapping the data in a component. Okay, so in the next video we'll see a nested mapping. Okay, so you can see here a parent component which is app component, and this is simple component, and here we'll do all the tasks here. So first of all we need some data, so outside this function we'll write here const users, and these users contains array of objects. So first there is name and it's my name. Okay, and then contacts, and inside this contacts there is a array, and inside this array there is a object, and suppose in the context there is WhatsApp, and WhatsApp, my WhatsApp number is 628904430. okay, next there is my email, and my email is input.output@gmail.com. you can see this array, and inside this array there is one object, and inside this object there's one item that is name, and there is another items that is contacts, and this contacts contains a array of object, and in this array there is two object. Okay, so this is one object, so we'll copy this object from here and give a comma here, and we'll paste it here, and we'll change the name here. Suppose the name is input output campus, and WhatsApp number is suppose 9998888, and email is suppose demo@gmail.com. okay, so now we'll map this users data. okay, how to map this users data? okay, so let's come to this return part, and here first of all write these curly braces, and inside these curly braces we will write users.map, and inside this there will be a fat arrow function, and from the users one by one data will be come to here. Suppose user is come to here, and here we will return a div, and inside this div we want to show this name in h2. so just give the name, so user dot name. so you can see here this is users, we are mapping these users using this map method. So from these users we are extracting one by one user. So the first item, this first item will be come to this user, and from this user we are showing this user dot name. So this is user dot name. So it will print this name inside this h2. Okay, so let's see the output by saving it and go to the browser, and you can see the expected output in h2 tag. So there was two name and these two name are printed here. Okay, now how can we print these contact details, WhatsApp and email? Okay, this is very easy. So inside this div, let's map this user. So here we'll map this user by writing user dot what. So this is user. So this is user. We want to map this. Okay, map these contacts. So to reach this WhatsApp and email, we have to first reach these contacts, because these two things are inside this contact. So we have to write user dot contacts, and from here we can reach this WhatsApp and email. So we'll map this. So dot map, and here write your fat arrow function, and from these contacts every item will be mapped. So just write here contact. Okay, so you can see here this is contacts. So this is these contacts, and from these contacts every item is coming to this contact. Okay, now we'll return this here. So we want to print this inside paragraph tag, and we want to print first WhatsApp, and this will be contact dot WhatsApp. Okay, next we want to print email. Okay, so we have to wrap this first. So first wrap this with some div, and okay, so email is inside this contact dot email. Okay, so just remove this from here and save it, and you can see here name and then the contact details are showing in paragraph tag. Okay, WhatsApp and this email ID. So this is how we can map the nested data. Okay friends, so if you still can't understand this, then please watch this video from the beginning, because I have explained this with a very basic and simple example step by step. We'll discuss about hooks, and we'll see the practical example of our very first hook, which is useState hook. So first of all, let us know what is hooks. So hooks are new addition in React 16.8. So hooks let you use state and the other React features without writing any class. Okay, so the basic three hooks in ReactJS is useState, useEffect and useContext, and another additional hooks like useReducer, useCallback, useMemo, useRef, useLayoutEffect. We'll discuss all this in the other video. And finally we'll see the custom hooks. We'll see how to build our own hooks for our project requirements. Okay, so without wasting time, let's start the video. So before starting the video, make sure you have subscribed to Input Output Campus YouTube channel and press the bell icon and select all, because when I'll upload a new video, you'll get the notification first. Okay, so today we'll see useState hook. So this is very important and commonly used hook in ReactJS. So you see here we are using functional component in ReactJS. So in the functional component, useState hook creates state variable. So it creates a state variable in functional component in ReactJS. Okay, so let's see how the useState hook looks like. So useState hook looks like this. So to write a hook, you first have to write use keyword. Okay, and this will be in small letter, and then you have to write in capital letter. Like I want to use here useState hook, so I'll write use and then S capital STAT, useState, and this is useState hook, and I will import this hook from this React. So first import this hook from here. Now if I hover over here, you can see here useState is undefined. So how we can define this useState? So to define this, just write here const and give here any variable name, like I give here state, okay, and then give here a name in camel case and it will start with set, okay. You have to write sct set, it's compulsory, and then you have to write in camel case like set state, okay. Now you can see here two elements, state and set state. So what is state and what is set state? So this first element is the initial state. So what is the initial state? So initial state can be any value or any function, okay. So suppose the initial state is 0 and you have to give here a equal sign, okay. Now you can see error is gone and our initial state value is 0. The first element is used to set the initial value, and the second element, you can see here the second element is set state. So this second element is a function, or you can say this is a dispatcher, okay. So we can use this second element to update this state. So our initial state value is 0. If we want, we can update this state from 0 to 1 or 0 to 5 or 0 to 100 or 0 to anything, okay, by using this second element, which is what, which is a function or a dispatcher, okay. So let's see what is inside this state. So for that we can console it, okay. So just log it and write here state and write here state and save it, and now go to this browser and inspect here, and in the console you can see our state value is 0. Now if we change the state value from 0 to 5 and save it, now you can see here our initial state value is now 5, okay. So now you know that how we can use this state and what is inside this state. Now the second element, which is a function or a dispatcher, to update this state. So how we can update this state? Using this set state, okay. To know that, we'll create a counter. So we'll create a counter and there will be two buttons, increment and decrement. When we'll click on increment, that will increase the current value. When we click on decrement, that will decrease the value, okay. So let's create a counter first, okay. So first of all, let's comment it and give here suppose 0, and inside this return write here h2 and here write counter and give here the state, and our initial state value is 0. So we can change this for better understanding. So as we are creating a counter, so let's change it to count, okay. So we can give it any name. So just let's give it count and change this name from set state to set count. Now give here the count and save it, and if you go to the browser, you can see our counter value is 0. Now we want two buttons here, one is for increment and other one is for decrement. So let's give here a button and this is for increment. Let's copy this button and give here another button and this is for decrement. And if you save it and go to the browser, you can see we have get these two buttons, increment and decrement. When you click on this increment, this value will increase, and when you click on this decrement, this value will decrease, okay. So give here some space by writing in BSP and colon, and you can see here there is some space between increment and decrement now, okay. Now our initial count value is 0. Now we want to increase or decrease this count value. So how we can do that? So when user will create on this increment button, some logic will be performed here. So when user will click on this increment, this count value will be increased, and will increase this count value by updating with the help of this setCount function, okay, or setCount dispatcher. So for that we have to write here onClick function. So when user click on this increment button, we'll call a function. So suppose the function name is increase count. Okay, just copy it and here write your function const increase count, and then give here a fat arrow function, and inside this function we will update this count with the help of this set count. So as this is a function, we will write this as function, and you know how to write a function name and then this first bracket. Okay, and inside this we will increase this count value. So we want to increase the count value by 1. So when user will click on this increment button, then this count value will change from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, like this. Okay, so for that what I can do, we can increase count by 1. So just write here count plus 1. So now the count value will be set to 1 when user will click on this increment. Okay, so just save it and let's see if it's working or not. So when I click on this increment, you can see the count value increased by 1. If I click on second time, it's increased by 2. Now this increment button is working fine. Let's do the same thing for this decrement button. When we'll click on this decrement, this value will be decreased. Okay, so for that, inside this button, write here on click function and give here a function name where we will handle the operation. Okay, suppose the function name is decrease count. Now let's do the same thing here, like const decrease count, and here will be a function, and inside this function we'll write this same dispatcher again. So set count, and here will be what? Here the count value, here our state value will be decreased by 1. So count will be -1. Okay, so let's save it and go to the browser and to refresh this, click on this increase button. You can see here this value is increasing. If you now click on this decrement button, this value will be decreased. Okay, and it will go to the negative value also. Okay, so now if we want to give some conditions here, like we want to increase from 0 to 10 or 1 to 10, and we want decrement from 10 to 1 and not the negative numbers. Okay, so for that what you can do, we can write a if conditions here, and if we give here if condition, if the count value is less than 10, if the count value is less than 10, then we will increase the count value or update the count value. And here we'll also write if the count value is greater than 0, only then we'll decrease the count value. Okay, and save it. Now go to the browser and refresh it, and if we click on this increment button, after 10 it's not increasing, and when I will click on this decrement button, it will decrease this value before 10, and you can see it's decreased up to 0 and not before the 0. Okay, so that's how we can use this useState hook, and using this useState hook we can handle the state here and update the state. So we have learned the React component. We'll apply this component concept in this counter F here. Okay, so how we can apply this component concept? So we don't want to write this h2 in this app component. We want this line in a separate component. So for that we have to create a component. So you can see here there is a component folder, and inside this component folder I will create a component. Suppose the name of the component is counter, and the component starts with capital letter, so just give its name counter.js. okay, now here instead of this we can write here, okay, we can write here our component. So our component is counter, and so you know how to create a component. So first let's write the basic syntax and basic format of functional component by typing here rafc and press enter. and basic format is ready. And inside this div, so just remove this div, and now this fragment, and inside this fragment we can write here h2, okay, and write here text like new counter, okay, and here we'll give her count value. So to get the count value we have to pass it from here. So for that, first of all, let's save it, and here import the counter component. So how to import the counter component? Just write here counter, and you can see here counter component is here, and just click on this and counter component is imported. Now we want to pass this count value because we need the count value here in this counter component to show the count value. So to pass this, we can give here any name like count number, and here give the state, and our state was count, okay. Now inside the counter, let's write here props. So to access this count, we'll write here props, and now we'll destructure this. So you know how to destructure. So let's write const, and inside this you have to write this same name count number, and then write here props, okay. So I have also make a dedicated video on props. You can watch that video to get a clear idea about props, okay. So now we can use the count value. So just copy this count number and paste it here and save it. And if you go to the browser, and you can see here new counter is equals to 0. Now if you click on this increment, this will increase the value. If you click on this decrement, this will decrease, okay. So in this video we have saw what is hooks, how to use our very first hook, that is useState hook, what is state, and how to update the state in functional component by using useState hook. And we have create a counter, and also we have create a counter component here where we have passed the props and destructured the props and use the count value, okay. So still if you have any confusion regarding this video, then please comment down below. So useEffect hook is the second mostly used hook in React functional component. So in the previous video we have learned how to use useState hook in ReactJS. So we'll use all the codes from the previous video, and we'll use that useState hook with this useEffect hook, okay. So first of all, let's understand what is useEffect hook and how to use useEffect hook and when to use useEffect hook, okay. So this is the very first thing you have to know. The useEffect hook provided by this React, and this useEffect hook allows you to perform side effects in your component. So this is your component, this is your app component, and the useEffect hook allows you to perform side effect. So now what is side effect? If you want to fetch some data from some API, then you can use the useEffect hook to fetch the data from the API. So this is called the side effect, okay. So fetching data is one of the side effect in React functional component. So you can perform this side effect, and another is like if you want to directly update the DOM and the timers, you can take the help of useEffect. So how the useEffect look like? The useEffect look like similar to this useState. So we have to first import the useEffect from this React like use and then e capital. So we have to write this in camel case, and use keyword is compulsory, okay. So this is the useEffect hook we have imported from the React. So React provide this hook. Now how we can write the useEffect hook? So here let's comment it useEffect, okay. So useEffect hook takes two argument or accept two arguments. So the first one is function, and the second argument is dependency, okay. So useEffect hook takes two arguments. First one is function and second one is a dependency, and we will not write like this, and this second argument dependency is optional, but you have to give a function here, okay. So this is the useEffect hook, and how to use it and when to use it. Okay, so let's see how to use the useEffect hook. Then we'll see when to use this useEffect hook. Okay, so first of all, write here a fat arrow function first. So fat arrow function, and inside this, so this is a function. Okay, so useEffect hook takes two arguments. First one is a function and second one is argument. So first we have give here a function, and inside this function we'll log something. Suppose I want to log useEffect. Okay, so let's give a console log here, and here give rendering. So when our app render, this line will be executed and we can see when the app is rendering. Okay, so when the app render for the first time, so this useEffect will also be rendered. So let's see. So let's clear the console and refresh it, and you can see first the app is rendering, then the useEffect is rendering, but here it's showing two times. So let's stop this by go to this index.js and then remove this or comment this strict mode. Okay, and save it. Now if you go to the console, you can see first your app is rendering, then the useEffect is rendering. Okay, now when to use useEffect hook? So we can use it in the initial render when the app is rendering. Then after rendering this app, this useEffect will render, and if we write some logic here, this logic will be executed. Okay, this is the first case. And second case, when use it when the component goes out of the scope, and we can also call or handle any piece of code for a particular state change. Suppose this is count. So when this count value is changing, then we can console this or execute this line of code. Otherwise this line of code will not be executed. Okay, so this is the another case when we can use this useEffect hook. So here you can see we have write only one useEffect. So let's write three useEffect here. Like this is the first useEffect, and then there will be second useEffect, and this is the third useEffect. Okay, let's give it useEffect 1. This is useEffect 2, and this is useEffect 3. Okay, and let's save it. And if you go to the browser, you can see for the first render of your app, the app first rendering, then useEffect 1 is rendered, then useEffect 2 is rendered, and then useEffect 3 is rendered. Here you can see we have not give any dependencies. So if you don't give any dependencies, then for every render of your app, the useEffect will be rendered. So if I click on this increment, then you can see this app is rendering, this 3 useEffect is rendering. So when I again click on this, again this 3 useEffect is rendering. So this is the first case. So case 1, this runs on every render. Okay, now we'll see the case 2. So what is case 2? So for the case 2, we'll give some dependencies here. We'll give empty dependencies. So this is called empty dependency array. Okay, so let's give the empty dependency here also. So when we give this empty dependency, then for the first render, only for the first render, this useEffect will be called. So for the first render, these 3 useEffect will be called, but for the second, third, fourth and multiple renders, only this first useEffect will be called. This useEffect 2 and useEffect 3 will not be called because we have give an empty dependencies, and by using these empty dependencies, this useEffect will call only for the first render. Okay, so if you save this and if you go to the browser and clear the console and to refresh it, you can see for the first render the function is rendering, then useEffect 1 is rendering, useEffect 2 is rendering, and useEffect 3 is rendering. Now if we render the apps again by clicking on this increment, you will see that only useEffect 1 will render. Okay, let's click on this. You can see our function is rendering and useEffect 1 is rendering, but useEffect 2 and 3 are not rendering. Why? Because we have kept the empty dependencies here. Okay, so this is the case 2. So you can see here for the multiple render, useEffect 2 and 3 will not be rendered. Only useEffect 1 will be rendered with this function rendering. Okay, so this is the case 2. So why the case 2? So this useEffect 2 will runs or render only first render. Okay, so this is case 2. And the last case, or the case 3, so case 3 is when we give some dependencies here. Suppose we want to give some dependencies here. Like what dependency? Dependencies may be props or state. So here you can give some props or states. Okay, so I will give here a state. When the state will change, when the state, suppose you can see here is the increment count and decrement count. So when this state, this count state will change, only then this useEffect 3 will be called. Okay, so let's give a dependency here, count, and save it. And if we go to the browser and clear the console and refresh the app, you can see for the first render all the useEffect are called with this function rendering. And if we update the value of this count by clicking on this increment or decrement, you will see that the useEffect 3 will render with this function rendering and useEffect rendering. Okay, so let's click on this increment and you can see function is rendering, useEffect 1 is rendering, and then useEffect 3 is rendering. So when I will click on this, every time on updating of this state value, the useEffect 3 will be called, because we have give here a dependency count. Okay, so for the case 3, it's render for the first time, runs on first render plus runs on dependency change. Okay, when this dependency will change or update, so on change or update of this dependency, this useEffect will be called. So this useEffect is very important for React.js, because in the upcoming videos and project we'll see the use of this useEffect, and this is one of the most useful hooks. Okay friends, hope you understand how useEffect is working in React. So still have you any confusions about this useEffect hook, then please comment below. So आज के इस वीडियो में हम लोग देखने वाले हैं कि useEffect यूज करके हम लोग कैसे डेटा फेच कर सकते हैं, एंड दैट इज वेरी इजी। लास्ट वीडियो में हम लोग देखा है कि कैसे useEffect हम यूज कर सकते हैं, useEffect का डिपेंडेंसीज क्या होता है, और useEffect कब रेंडर होता है, कब रेंडर नहीं होता है। ये सारी चीजें हम लोग पिछले वीडियो में डिस्कस किया है। अगर आप इस चैनल में न्यू है और useEffect का वीडियो अभी तक नहीं देखा है तो प्लीज वो वीडियो पहले देख लीजिए, उसके बाद ये वीडियो देखिए, क्योंकि इस वीडियो में हम लोग डेटा फेच करने वाले हैं useEffect की मदद से। ओके, सो ये जो ऐप कंपोनेंट है ये हमारा एप्स का रूट कंपोनेंट है, और टू डू कंपोनेंट ये एक चाइल्ड कंपोनेंट है। जो कंपोनेंट्स के अंदर टू डू एक कंपोनेंट है और एक चाइल्ड कंपोनेंट है। टू डू कंपोनेंट को ऐप कंपोनेंट के अंदर इंपोर्ट कर लिया। ओके, नाउ विल फेच द डेटा इन दिस टू डू कंपोनेंट। सो टू डू कंपोनेंट के अंदर ही हम लोग डेटा फेच करेंगे। सो डेटा फेच करने के लिए कोई एक रिसोर्स चाहिए, कोई एक URL चाहिए, कोई एक API चाहिए जहां से हम लोग डेटा फेच कर सकते हैं। ओके, तो हम लोग के पास एक URL है jsonplaceholder.typicode.com, और यहाँ बहुत सारे रिसोर्स है, लाइक पोस्ट है, कमेंट्स है, एल्बम्स, फोटोज, टू डूज एंड यूजर्स। सो विल फेच डेटा फॉर टू डूज। ओके, जस्ट क्लिक ऑन दिस टू डूज। अब यहाँ देखो ये जो URL है, ये URL के अंदर बहुत सारी डेटा एरे ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट के फॉर्म में है। तो सो ऑब्जेक्ट के अंदर क्या क्या है? ऑब्जेक्ट के अंदर है यूजर ID, टाइटल एंड completed. To do item is completed or not. Okay, so we'll use this URL. Okay, so first क्या करना होगा? फर्स्ट हम लोगों को useEffect इंपोर्ट करना होगा, और हम लोगों को क्या चाहिए? डेटा रखने के लिए एक स्टेट चाहिए। तो उसके लिए हम लोग कौन सा हुक यूज करेंगे, यूज स्टेट हुक यूज करेंगे। सो यूज स्टेट हुक भी यहाँ पे इंपुट कर लेते हैं, यूज। सो यहाँ पे यूज स्टेट लिखते हैं कॉन्स्ट टू डूज से टू डूज यूज स्टेट, और यूज स्टेट के अंदर इनिशियली कौन सा डेटा होगा, इनिशियली कुछ भी डेटा नहीं होगा, नाल होगा, तो यहाँ पे नाल लिख देता हूँ। सो अगर मैं इसको प्रिंट कर रहा हूँ, यहाँ पे देखो, यहाँ पे पी टेक लगाया और उसके अंदर टू डूज लिख दिया। ओके, अभी हम लोग ब्राउजर में चलते हैं। तो ये हमारा रिएक्ट ऐप है और इसको रिफ्रेश करते हैं। देखो यहाँ पे कुछ भी डेटा नहीं शो हो रहा है। अब यहाँ पे हम लोग यूज इफेक्ट लिखेंगे। सो यूज इफेक्ट क्या करते हैं, यूज इफेक्ट रिएक्ट एप्स में कोई भी साइड इफेक्ट हो, जैसे कि डेटा फेचिंग करना एक साइड इफेक्ट है। सो यूज इफेक्ट कैसे लिखा जाता है, सो यूज इफेक्ट उसके अंदर एक एरो फंक्शन, और यहाँ पे क्या होगा, यहाँ पे एक एम्प्टी एरे डिपेंडेंसीज होगा। सो इस यूज इफेक्ट के अंदर हम लोग एक फेच मेथड है तो इसको लिखेंगे। सो इसके अंदर हम लोग ये जो यूआरएल है इसको यहाँ पे दे देंगे। ओके, विल पेस्ट इट हियर। अगर फेच लिखा तो इसके बाद क्या लिखना पड़ेगा, इसके बाद देन लिखना पड़ेगा। देन के अंदर क्या आएगा, देन के अंदर एक रिस्पॉन्स आएगा। सो रिस्पॉन्स को हम लोग रिटर्न करेंगे जेसन फॉर्मेट में। ओके, सो रिटर्न रिस्पॉन्स डॉट जेसन। सो रिस्पॉन्स तो आ गया, उसके बाद जो रिस्पॉन्स आया, जो डेटा आया, वो सेट टू डू स्टेट में हम लोगों को सेव करना है, टू डूज को अपडेट करना है। तो कैसे अपडेट करेंगे, तो उसके लिए और एक देन लिखेंगे। तो इसके अंदर क्या लिखेंगे, इसके अंदर कोई भी एक वेरिएबल लिख दो, सपोज डेटा, और इसके अंदर हम लोग स्टेट को सेट करेंगे। तो सेट टू डूज, और इसके अंदर क्या जाएगा, डेटा जाएगा। फर्स्ट हमने क्या किया, एक स्टेट लिखा टू डूज, और सेट टू डूज से ये स्टेट अपडेट होगा और इसका इनिशियल वैल्यूज नाल है। देन हम लोग यूज इफेक्ट लिखा, उसके अंदर इस रिसोर्स से डेटा फेच किया, उसको कन्वर्ट किया जेसन में और रिटर्न कर दिया। उसके बाद ये जो सेट टू डूज है उसके अंदर ये सारे डेटा हम लोग सेट कर दिया। तो सेव करते हैं और देखते हैं कि डेटा शो होता है कि नहीं। अब देखो यहाँ पे देखो बहुत एरर आ रहा है। क्या आ रहा है, ऑब्जेक्ट्स आर नॉट वैलिड एज ए रिएक्ट चाइल्ड। तो यूजर आईडी टाइटल ये सब कीज है। इफ यू मीन टू रेंडर अ कलेक्शन ऑफ चिल्ड्रेन यूज एन एरे इंस्टेड। तो हम लोगों ने तो डेटा यहाँ से फेच कर लिया, लेकिन ये डेटा को यहाँ पे शो करने के लिए हम लोगों को यहाँ पे कंडीशंस लिखना पड़ेगा। सो अगर टू डूज में डेटा है, हम लोग डायरेक्टली ऐसे टू डूज को नहीं दिखा सकते। सो अगर टू डूज में डेटा है तो हम कंडीशनली इसको यूआई में शो कर सकते हैं। सो अगर टू डूज में डेटा है तो इसके अंदर हम लोग मैप लगाएंगे। सो टू डूज डॉट मैप, मैप के अंदर एक एरो फंक्शन लिखेंगे। मैप के अंदर एक डेटा आएगा, सपोज टू डू आएगा। ओके, बहुत सारे टू डू है एरे ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट में, एक एक ऑब्जेक्ट आएगा मैप के अंदर। सपोज एक एक टू डू आएगा मैप के अंदर। तो उसके बाद हम लोग ये जो पैराग्राफ टैग है यहाँ से हटा के क्या करेंगे, यहाँ पे लगा देंगे। यहाँ पे हम लोग डेटा शो करेंगे। तो यहाँ पे पैराग्राफ टैग में हम लोग कौन सा डेटा शो करना चाहते हैं, यहाँ पे देखो, यहाँ पे जो डेटा है यहाँ पे एरे ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट्स के फॉर्म में है। ये है टू डूज, ये पूरा है टू डूज, और यहाँ पे जितना भी ऑब्जेक्ट है एक एक ऑब्जेक्ट टू डू में आ रहा है, ये ऑब्जेक्ट टू डू में आ रहा है। तो यहाँ पे हम लोग टू डू डॉट टाइटल को शो करेंगे और यहाँ पे एक की दे देंगे। सपोज की जो टू डू से आ रहा है, टू डू डॉट आईडी, एक आईडी करके आ रहा है, वो हम लोग यहाँ पे की दे दिया। ओके, तो आप सेव करते हैं और उसके बाद यूआई में देखते हैं। कुछ भी नहीं आया। तो यहाँ पे हम लोग लॉग करके देखते हैं, कंसोल लॉग करके देखते हैं कि टू डूज का डेटा आया है कि नहीं। तो यहाँ पे कंसोल पे जाओ और देखो यहाँ पे बहुत सारे डेटा है, 200 डेटा आया है, लेकिन यहाँ पे शो नहीं हो रहा है। तो यहाँ पे एक गलती कर दिया है हमने कि यहाँ पे जो सेकेंड ब्रैकेट है, सेकेंड ब्रैकेट के अंदर हम लोग पी टैग को रिटर्न कर रहे हैं, लेकिन रिटर्न की ओर यहाँ पर नहीं लिखा। तो कैसे रिटर्न होगा डेटा? तो यहाँ पे रिटर्न की ओर लिखना पड़ेगा। ओके, सो डन। सो सेव इट एंड देन ऑल द डेटा सर हियर। देखो सब डेटा चला आया यहाँ पे। तो यहाँ पे अगर तुम जाओगे, ये था टाइटल। अगर हम लोग टाइटल के साथ और कंप्लीटेड और आईडी दिखाना चाहते हैं तो वो भी दिखा सकते हैं। टाइटल के साथ साथ हम लोग टू डू डॉट ID दे तो टाइटल के पास आईडी आ जाएगा। ऐप में देखो एक टाइटल है, उसके साइड में आईडी आ गया। अगर आप लोग इस चैनल में न्यू है तो अभी के अभी सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिए, क्योंकि फ्यूचर में बहुत सारी इंटरेस्टिंग वीडियो आने वाले हैं जो कि आपके लिए फ्यूचर में बहुत ही हेल्पफुल होगा। मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में। टिल देन टेक केयर।